You big talker, 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 talk show.
I would like to thank our friends for subscribing, Caitlin, Dave Z, and Rob, who's actually, I guess that doesn't count, and then a couple of anonymous people. We're up to 13, which is the age I was in, 8th grade. Yeah, I went to school a year early. Back then, they would put you in kindergarten even if you're 4 years old, and I think that might have impeded me somehow. But anyway, my foot's better for people who do care, and I was able to go on my first walk. Unfortunately, it was kind of a bad day to choose to do the walk, and got soaked, but there was a Seinfeld skit where he was talking about how people love swimming, but when it comes to a raindrop, we run away frightened. Kind of true. So I was thinking of that as I was soaked. Of course, usually in a swimming pool, you don't have your clothes on in the same way. I must say that Trump's diagnosis with COVID was like getting good news. And I know that sounds cruel, but for somebody that has expressed sort of, not sort of, completely disregard for human life, particularly Black lives, I don't give a shit about that guy. Speaking of, there was this tweet that I thought was very powerful and something to consider in terms of being somebody who stands up against white supremacy. So most of you probably watched the debate, although I don't say watch the debate. What I'm referring to is as survived the debate, like made it through intact in some way. I think it was traumatic for a lot of people who might remember, childhood bullies, people that were mean to you, who were very much like this guy who is currently occupying the White House. My friend recommends after things like that to watch videos of animals, and she sent me quite a few, which was nice. In particular, squirrels yawning. So I guess you can YouTube, Google that, and it is very cute and does help. I talk a little bit about the debates in an interview that we're doing today in You Big Talker. We're interviewing my friend in Greece, Pavlos. He's in Athens, Greece. Anyway, to think I moved from a city with this slogan, great things happen in Durham, to a city with bad things happen in Philadelphia. What was I thinking? Anyway, got my shirt from this great place called V-Marks The Shop. It's a vegan store here in South Philly, actually. And they are donating all the proceeds. I actually got a hoodie, not a shirt, one for me, one for Rob, to the Amistad Law Project. And I'll link to that project. And also on his point relating to, bad things happening in Philadelphia about poll watchers, there's a really good article in the Philly Inquirer that kind of dived into that a little deeper. And they said there's several reasons why the election staff did not allow members of the public to arbitrarily enter their offices. The Trump campaign has no poll watchers approved to work in Philly in the moment, actually. And there's no actual polling places open. These are different. They're satellite elections offices, basically, where ballots can be requested, completed, and submitted. So anyway, just want to clear that up. The whole process has been great, actually, for mail-in ballots, despite people's fears, which I heard again on phone banking from a few Democrats who want to go in person because of all the things they've heard about the mail. But I was emailed a notice in advance that the ballot was on the way. And then we received it and sent it or mailed it. Democracy at work here, people.
Old school voting.
What do you mean old school?
A better way to do it. You don't go anywhere. You just fill this out.
New. Isn't that new school?
It's old school. It's been around for a long time because of the military and stuff. So it's like
exciting moments. Another note, topical, is there appears to be some sort of correlation between retiring early and cognitive decline. So I suppose, what I would want to see a little bit more in the study is what retirement means. Like, does it mean sitting in front of the TV, which is kind of a death sentence for a lot of men that do that, apparently? Or does it mean you're still engaged with, volunteer work and activism and things like that? Then I think it's probably a different story. I don't know why I really like this story, but the parrots in the wildlife park moved after swearing at visitors. The quote is, "Staff immediately noticed that the birds shared a propensity to fly off the handle." I don't know, I thought that was good. Maybe it's because they don't want to be at that park. I guess a lot of people, it said in the article, are surrendering these birds, which means they're tired of them, I guess. It's not something you usually do with maybe kids as much, because the birds have potty mouths, so I don't know. But speaking of caging, or captivity, I guess, there was another study that came out about, and basically the headline is "Caging Large Mammals and Putting Them on Display is undeniably cruel from a neural perspective. It causes brain damage. So scientists have found, elephants and all sorts of animals who are in captivity, like in zoos, for instance, their brain actually shrinks, gets damaged based on, and they, of course, exhibit behaviors like, biting on their cage or pacing in circles. What would you do? I mean, we're in COVID times. It's, we're obviously sort of captive in a way, but not in the way that people are in prison or animals are in these cages. So it's a lot different. We can still express ourselves and do, kind of normal human things. Another interesting, I get Google alerts, so I get, for all sorts of topics. This came through. Ken Horst couple finds stray hermit crab in their backyard. I guess that's newsworthy. And I shared it here, so I guess I'm at fault too. Now we're moving on to cool stuff. I got this bracelet. Well, this was a while ago from my friend Jean's shop, and she has a cool shop in Seattle that has all eco-friendly vegan clothes, and it's called Drizzle and Shine. But this is one of the things I got. It's kind of cool. It's like a bracelet / hair tie, and you can get a bunch of other stuff at her shop. It's really cool. Check it out. Right now I'm reading a book called Together. It was written by the 19th Surgeon General of the U.S., The Healing Power of Human Connection in a Sometimes Lonely World. So speaking of lonely and captivity and things like that. And I'm reading it for a book club we have at work. I'll let you know how it is. I'm on Goodreads. If anybody, are you on Goodreads? Let me know. I'll be your friend. One of the things I really liked that I came across the other week was this bio on Spotify of the band Caribou. And he's got over 2 million listeners. I just think, I thought it was a generous bio. I haven't sent any music, but to test out if he really, that's a lot. He probably gets a lot of music. So what do you think? Anything that I should review or see podcast-wise or otherwise? Let me know in the comments. So now we're moving into the It's Just Food section. So I was casually looking, as some of you know, for the first time in my life, like over a year ago, maybe whenever they debuted, I invested in Beyond Meat stock. And, it was just like $3,000. But anyway, it's since made about $4,000 from that. But right now, I think they started around $20-something, and then we bought it maybe at $72. Now it's at $166, and then it was $168. I don't know. But it keeps going up. And I think the last time it went up was due to they had an announcement for a new product, meatballs, but also I think Walmart was going to distribute them to 2,400 locations instead of just 800. And yeah, of course, I've had my problems with Walmart and things like that, but you have to, if you're going to question Beyond Meat, we need to also question all the other products at Walmart. I think it's a win for animals and the environment to have it distributed to places where people will buy them, the products. So I think that's cool. Speaking of these meats, there was an article in Men's Health where the food and nutrition editor Paul Keita says, will it blow you away, and will you forever vow to eat Impossible burgers until death do you part? Rabid legions of plant-based fanatics will argue yes, even though I might add that most of the burgers customers are actually omnivores. They're not vegetarians. Anyway, I digress. And he says, but I'm going to bet your guess that they have ulterior motives in doing so, like the plant-based people. And if they tell you otherwise, they're selling you a Whopper. Clever. But yeah, so what are the ulterior motives in promoting plant-based meats for vegetarians and vegans? Limit animal suffering, be kind to the environment. I really, seriously, I want to know if I am missing something, omnivores out there, please tell me what our ulterior motives might be, because I'm not making money doing this. Although, you can argue Impossible is, but he's specifically talking about people who eat vegetarian. I've heard this a lot. Anyway, oh yeah, and then he goes on about the nutrition aspects, and people are always sort of criticizing, it's not like eating a vegetable out of the ground or an apple off the tree. People always say that it's processed. And okay, yogurt's processed. Are we all going to be eating broccoli out of the ground or apples from the tree? This isn't replacing that. This is replacing meat, which is highly processed and lots of hormones and and cruel. Just no matter, it's just cruel. So in the end, they do a nutrition analysis, and the plant-based comes out ahead, no cholesterol, etc. But yeah, you're not replacing your daily apple or whatever. You're having it when, on occasion, when you have your burger. What's your favorite plant-based meat? Are you an Impossible person, a Beyond person, or something else? Maybe you're a black bean burger person. I like both Impossible and Beyond. So speaking of food, Binge Cafe tonight is celebrating Thai night. It was sort of predictable because we covered, Indian food. We covered, I don't even know which part of the country but Ethiopian. We did a Greek night. Predictably, we're doing a Thai night. We're going to have Thai iced tea with some brandy, and we are going to have drunken noodles and green curry. So press the tofu for this. And I was, before people asked about pressing tofu and I poo-pooed it because I don't like high maintenance food. But I must say, I pressed the tofu per the recipe instructions and it flattened it quite a lot. How is the taste going to be? We'll see. But it really flattened it and took a lot of the water out. So that was kind of cool. I'll let you know how it went. Now we are going on to Rob's Renovations. He's a little cranky, but that's because he's working hard. I wanted to show you doing renovations.
No, it's not even, please.
So now we are here with Robbie's Renovations, and he's very carefully removing some paint from an old door. This is
from North Carolina, one of our old houses. There's a lot of work. So. But it's going to be great. It's going to be a barn door for our master bedroom closet. And I'll show you guys more pics as that goes on.
Now I would like to go to our guest segment, and I am going to introduce Pavlos from Greece. He's calling us at about 10 p.m. his time. He's kind of a night owl.
Cigar? What are you, Cuban now?
I smoke some small cigars. I'm a heavy smoker. That's my sin. Guilty as charged.
I was looking up our history and the show we had together with your wonderful late friend, Tassos.
Oh yeah.
Was the show was in 2006 of October?
Yes, we still have the poster. Yeah, that nice purple one. It was, it was hand painted by Tassos, all handmade. It was a great artwork. I still remember Beloved Binge and Under Stress.
Η οικογένεια μου στη Καρδίτσα, they had floods.
Saw the news from your post that everything is okay, everybody is okay. But of course, not everybody. I mean, the floods were a disaster. Forest fires is the biggest problem, and the disasters are caused because of our stupidity, and of course because some want to make some easy money. The same as in Amazon River, the rainforest in Brazil.
I talked about this on last week's episode, but it's similar to meat and producing meat with animals versus now they could produce meat without it. And so it's just a matter of changing into the new technology that is delicious, but less harmful to the earth. So
imagine that I work for a company that it's an electric energy provider. And we have started a new project now by installing electric charge spots, over 250 spots throughout Greece, and eventually hoping that the price of an electric car drops significantly, then more and more and more will decide to replace totally the fossil fuel. We have heard the news that President Trump got COVID-19. Wow! Is there any possibility this to be a trick to obtain the sympathy of many people? We have, I think, 2025 days, I think the American elections are, huh?
Yeah, just about the time for COVID recovery.
Look, from my point of view, we are worried about the result. Whoever wins, USA protects their own interests throughout the world regarding the other countries. All other things are for the inside consumption. Watching the debate, to me, it was funny. I was thinking I was watching a Hollywood movie, a comedy. I don't know how the American people receives that. We, as a third party, we say, okay, it's much better than the Greek debates.
Really?
Yeah. Believe me, 100%.
Greeks are famous for interrupting each other, so I think it's not as much of a shock for the Greek audience. We had friends on Zoom and also texting with friends for support, and we also had alcohol for support. because it's so upsetting. And Biden, on the other hand, he's not a great debater by any means, but he's an actual. You could see that he has heart. He's a human being. Whereas with Trump, something's happened to him along the way. Those feelings don't seem to be there at all. Not to mention, he refused to denounce white supremacists. It's just crazy. And so what that does is it creates a lot of fear in the country, and especially for Black people who essentially called to action these white supremacists. So it's really crazy. What do you think, and what do your colleagues think in Greece of the U.S. in general?
We are divided here with the whole movement, watching what happens in USA today. For example, we are looking to an extreme police brutality.
Do you mean that there is a lot of police brutality in Greece?
Yes, there is, and the problem starts from the politicians. If only a political party or a prime minister, a government should leave police to do their job, and their job is not hitting old people or gassing people or invading the universities. Their job is from traffic police, okay, and catching criminals, real criminals. I'm talking about murderers or burglars or whatever. This is their job. They are used as a weapon against ordinary people. It's a dilemma here. Of course, in America, it's a completely different situation.
What I was happy to see in Greece, that all the protesters who came out to support Black Lives.
Oh yeah, look, everybody here, police brutality is a universal problem, and police force misuse appears in every country. That's why everybody feels a little bit sympathetic. For example, for Black Lives Matter, okay, I don't like police brutality. I hate that.
Tell me this, Mitsotakis, is that the president right now?
Yeah.
How is he doing with COVID and managing that for Greece?
Mitsotakis was good in managing the whole situation. For example, he took measurements much earlier than other European countries, not to mention USA, completely no measures. Here, he said wearing masks, work from house, and a complete lockdown for 2.5 months. We got back in the office from June. This was good because he in a way, he limited the danger. Of course, the price was heavy because many stores were closed. Many people got fired, they lost their jobs. There was a protection pillow talking about money provided to unemployed or to businesses. Yeah. Hello, Rob. How are you? Looking forward to the next movie you are going to star. 1st of June, everybody was worrying about tourism. The disaster was big because we lost also the Easter season. The Easter season is the official start of the whole tourist season. Many businesses decided, and they said, I don't open at all, because Greece was a safe space, a safe country from COVID, and all of a sudden there was imported. It's the German market, Italians, French, Spanish, and of course British. My wife Eleni was born in Brooklyn, New York.
You have a wife named Eleni?
Yes, my wife is Eleni.
Good choice.
I'm not married. She's we stay together, but I call her my wife because I feel like that.
When I first heard how well Greece was doing with COVID, I was surprised because I've taken boats there before where everything's chaos, everything's disorganized. But you guys,
yes,
you did everything so well.
I understand that the Greek government is scared shitless. And all of a sudden now we have 400 people only dead. They are afraid maybe there will be a huge outburst like US or France or Italy, etc. And when you are a country of only 11 million people, this number will bring eventually a lockdown. They say, please young people, you young students, we know you are young and you know your hormones are boiling and you don't go to parties, hidden parties in private spaces. If you go to a marriage or if you go to a funeral, you know from your country, from your Karditsa, every summer we have panigiri, you know, panigiri. In Thessaloniki, there were marriages, panigiri, 40 people infected, 50 people infected. No alcohol, everything's closed. After 12 o'clock is closed. Okay, they say, all right, I go to Periptero, to the kiosk, I buy my beers, I buy my alcohol, I buy my booze, and I go to the terrazza, to the roof, and I have a private party with my friend. Who can stop them? Be serious, sacrifice a few moments of the asceticism of having fun. I understand. I myself haven't played in a stage music. We haven't played. It's forbidden since last February. We had a gig August 8th near Karditsa, near your hometown. There was a gig cancelled. They told us if you like to play, you have to sign a contract that says if there is a problem, you will be paying the 5,000 euros fine if someone is infected because of your concert. Bye-bye, I go for vacation. Of course, when you go to a business, even in a house, we keep our protection measures. We wear masks, we wash our hands with antiseptic. This was one good consequence of COVID situation because we became more modern. For example, now Viber photographs, WhatsApp photographs, Messenger, scanners, all contracts can be exchanged without personal contact.
Nice.
If I had to go outside, even to go to the mini market to buy soda, I had to send an SMS and say, I'm going out to buy bread or to buy a soda, go to the supermarket. We have a dog here, and you would send also an SMS, say, I have to walk the dog outside. The lockdown season was not good for the working people in the retail stores. It was very dangerous for supermarket people working in the supermarket because everybody was touching everything. I have worked in bars as a DJ or as a musician for many years, and I don't mind going out. If we want to go out to see our friends, we can go to the studio and play music, and we have much more fun. We fixed a video clip, from YouTube, and there was a video. It was fun. It was nice. It was a lockdown memory.
Yeah.
But now we are going. I go twice a week or 3 times a week, and play with various bands. I play with 3 bands now. I had stopped playing drums for many years, but now I'm a drummer in a blues band. And on Mondays and Wednesdays, I have my own bands. One as a bassist and the one as a vocalist only. One is called Dinosavri, but it's not dinosaurs exactly. It's because the leader and the main composer and lyricist is called Dinos, and we are a little bit old, so we are like lizards, savres. So we say, okay, Dinos and Savres, Dinosavri. The other band I have is called the 777 or 777. The other band, the blues band, is called Bluesy Walkers. Playing music during this period saves you money. And I'm talking about not going to a shrink. Starting from October 1st, yesterday, we can have gigs again, but I don't know if the people are ready to go back to the bars and clubs.
How did you get into music?
My mother was a pianist, and she was playing the accordion. Of course, my mother was from a very poor family, and she was forced to stop it. She had to go to work, and then after that, she got married and fixed a family, and she stopped. But she had music inside. My father liked to sing, especially in churches. Although he wasn't a religious man, I'm talking about a fanatic religious man, and of course he became a banker. I always wanted to be a musician, but of course in the years, early 70s, when I was, let's say, 4 or 5 years old, Greek families, and of course my family, who wasn't a rich family, was thinking, Pavlos, is better to learn English and study your school and go to the university But of course, the music infection was inside. I started playing guitar, learning the guitar at the age of 17, quite old for a musician. I was practicing with my mother's, remember knitting, the knitting needles.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So this was looking like mullets. So I played with the pillows of my saloni, my living room. I make it like drums. Remember, it was a far left organization that every summer was organizing the best rock concert, the best rock festival ever. And there were many groups. Later, they become very famous. And I was watching who makes the biggest noise. Ah, yes, it's the drummer. So I was not watching the concert. As a kid, I was going behind and I was looking what this man is doing with his feet, hands, and his mind. My uncle, coming from Massachusetts, USA, and he was also black, married to my Thea, to my mother's sister. He was my first influence in, first of all, speaking English. I had to learn to speak English because I want to know what my Theo's saying. Number one. Number two, he got a very good record collection. Of course, we understand Nat King Cole, jazz, Aretha Franklin was his favorite, Billie Holiday, but he was also like the rock, the classic rock. For example, all the records of Eric Clapton or Pink Floyd or David Gilmour or many others, and he was buying and bringing to me the latest edition. He influenced me in the American way of living and American attitude. And I remember it was my sister's birthday, and my mother decided to give a mixtape. Of course, when I heard it, I got jealous, and I said, "Mama, I want a mixtape too." So she got ordered a second mixtape. These were the first mixtapes, and I'm talking about rock music like Golden Earring, Deep Purple, Janis Joplin, David Bowie, Lou Reed, classic rock of early 70s. I had a gift, a present from my uncle, from my American uncle. It was a small tape recorder. For me, this was a pillow. I put my head on it, and I remember myself many afternoons listening to tapes. Each and every month, or maybe every 2 months, we had a big a big party in our house. Everybody was dancing. You understand? Uzo, Yamas, etc., etc. And as children, we were raised listening to Laiko, Buzuki, but classic ones. My roots are rock and roll. Okay, I like the Motico. I do not know if you have heard one very good group. They come from Ioannina, from Epirus. They are called themselves villagers of Ioannina city. Chamiko, folkloric songs with stoner heavy metal guitars, plus some rembetiko inside. Oh my God! I remember a group called Thrax Punks. They come from Thraci, that's why they come Thrax, and they play punk. They mix local folkloric songs from Thraci with punk music. And this is the connection with Greek folkloric songs with a Byzantine pentatonic scale, that is related with the black blues music. There's a very close relation. That is why we like also Rembetiko. Rembetiko has the same music scales like the American blues and the music from Epirus or Peloponnese, the traditional one. Because there is a Byzantine pentatonic scale. Comes from Greece. And of course, later on, moving to Africa and then moving to America, there was the blues genre created. There's a direct.
Are you saying that the Greeks created the blues?
Yes, we created. And I remind you that the word kimono comes from the words himonas. Everything is Greek. Everything is Greek.
This question was developed actually in 2006. What do you think the essential ingredients are to a good life?
Yeah, okay. and now my lighter stopped working. All right. So, free time for yourself. Happiness is good health, good food, good education, nice vacation. And have you opened a small business called Binge Cafe? Is this your business?
Oh no, that's just Friday nights. I create a meal of different themes, like just for Rob.
It's Rob. Yeah, okay. It's very nice. I like it. I hope when you come to Greece and you want to make a tour, my groups will always be available.
Oh.
Any group. I have many options. Don't worry. I will be in that gig. I do not know what instrument I will be playing.
Thank you for tuning in. Would you like to be on our show? Do you know somebody who wants to be on our show? Feel free to comment, DM me, and anyone you'd like me to interview, topics to cover, news stories I should mention, please write me. And if you enjoyed this video at all, please give a like and subscribe. Thank you, everybody.